with the Mitchell X and what they've been able to do over the past year or two, has, in my mind, I've been friends with them for a long time, and it's been really interesting to see how they've managed it and how they've managed their success. And they've done a lot of things traditionally, how traditional artists have done it. They just have found little things that have worked and been able to exploit those with the galleries and with summer shows and those types of things. And what I would like to talk about is kind of on the other side of that. It's I want to dispel the myth of the starving artist and that you have to be a poor, starving, cut off your ear, eat pencils, type of person, because you don't have to, and that's not the way it is. Me coming from the business side and having a creative background as well, I found marketing was a great fit for me because it was a traditional job, but I got to create and have fun and do all those things as well. But there's a lot that goes into having a business mind over having an art mind. And what I'd like to do is kind of help you guys merge that a little bit with some of the things that Elizabeth talked about and some of the things that we'll get into right now. And I'm going to go over 5 steps, points that we can kind of exploit, if you will, and so that you guys can be successful. One of the things I want to talk to you about, and I've been in marketing long enough to know that there is a market for everything. Doesn't matter what it is. I helped a guy become really successful selling toothpicks that are animals, that have like frogs' heads on them, and you stick them in hot dogs. That's all he does, and he's really, really successful. One of the things you got to get through your mind is that there is a niche for everybody. You create something, there's someone out there that wants to buy it. I mean, I've seen a lot of really bad stuff sell because it was marketed correctly. And so the 5 things that I want to go over is, 1, obviously, you guys have to have a product. And in marketing, you have to have a product, and you have to have a good product, usually, to sell. The great thing about being an artist is you guys have a great product already. It's creative. People love the creative side of things. They love seeing how someone works and creating stuff out of nothing and taking a paintbrush and creating a train out of it, or whatever it looks like or is, or taking a gourd and making this beautiful, sculpture thing. People love that, and having great art and having great product is something that we could talk a ton about it, but I'm not going to get too much into it. But as far as day-to-day stuff, make stuff that you would buy yourself. And if you're doing that, you know that there's going to be other people out there that want to buy it. But how do we get in front of those people? How do you know? How do you find the people that want to buy your art? And that's kind of where we take, from the traditional side, it was getting in galleries and I'm in front of people because they're walking in the gallery and they're finding me. Or I'm going to a summer show so people can walk into my booth and find my art. Well, there's been a ton of stuff that's changed over the past 7 to 10 years, and a lot of that has to do with the internet, your website, and social media, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. So, number 1, create good art. Number 2, you need to have a plan. Your art is a business, period. If you want to be successful and you want to live on what you guys are doing and you want to be successful at what you do and be able to go to Cancun and have all that fun stuff, you need to treat it as a business. Now, this is really tough for a lot of artists because they are creative, and Santiago is a perfect example of this. He's an amazing creative person, and he actually has a pretty good business mind, but he doesn't like it. He doesn't like dealing with the business part of it. But you have to understand that it is a business, and you have to have a plan, whatever that plan looks like. But there's a lot of great resources online, small business plans, or even you can type in Google art marketing plan or art business plan and find something. But you need to have a plan, and that plan needs to consist of a couple of things. 1, it has to have goals, whether it be I'm going to create 10 pieces over the course of this time frame, and you're developing that piece of it, or I'm going to where I need to be in so many shows or apply for so many shows or however that looks. You guys need to have a business plan. And there's a ton that goes into that. And as an artist, it's something that's hard because you have to be methodical with it. It's not something you can create a business plan and then sit it on the shelf. It doesn't work. You have to work on it. If you want to be successful, you have to work on it daily, and you have to be methodical. And the way I see it and the way that I have been successful in doing business is I take what I don't want to do and I chunk it up into small bits that I can chew on. So I can do 10 minutes or 15 minutes. I hate this, but I need to do 15 minutes of this daily, every day. And I take a piece of my time and I just do it. And it's 10 minutes or 15 or half hour or whatever that is. If it's, calling galleries or whatever that piece of your business plan that you guys need to work on. You take it small chunks at a time and you do it on a day-to-day basis. You don't leave it for the end of the month. You're like, oh, now I do all this in 2 days because that's part of my plan, and if I don't do it, then I'm not doing my plan. And so you want to make sure bite-sized chunks, because there's a ton that goes into what you guys want to be and how you want to be successful. And Elizabeth talked a little bit about their business plan, and everybody's is going to be a little bit different. The third thing, especially in this digital age, is you need to have a website. And I saw probably 70% of you raised your hand and said, I have a website, which is fantastic. Because a website is a couple of different things for you. It is a portal. It's a salesman for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. 1. 2, it's a portal to have people find you, find your work, find what's going on in your life, if you're using it correctly, find about interesting things about the individual, having a blog on your website that talks about who you are, and we'll get into social media and why that's important in this day and age. If you guys do not have a website, or if you feel like your website isn't doing what it needs to, there's a lot of free resources out there. WordPress, Blogger, Weebly.com, all of those are places you can create a free website for yourself and upload pictures and do things. And there's other ways to do a website, but there's so much you can do with WordPress. Make sure that you're using it. Now, you want to use your site correctly, because the fourth thing that we want to talk about is creating a list of clients. And Elizabeth talked about this a little bit, about how she has a list that she organizes through Salesforce or Sugar CRM or whatever that is, and she's gathered clients and email addresses and different ways of getting that. But this is going to be one of the most important parts of your business, whether you're selling art, or selling toothpicks, because these are customers, whether they're customers that have bought from you, or they're customers that have said, hey, I'm interested in your work. I can't buy anything right now, but you do great work. How many in here as artists, have had someone say, oh, I love your work. Here's my email address, or here's my business card. And then you've never, ever, ever heard from them again.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, it happens all the time. Marketing, kind of a marketing rule of thumb, is you have to interact with somebody 3 to 10 times before they buy anything from you. So to have someone walk into a gallery one time and pull something off the wall because they love it, it's rare. Because most of the time, and Elizabeth can attest to this, even at her shows, people will come back 3 or 4 times and look at a piece before they actually buy it, pull the trigger. So you want to be able to take that person that gave you an email address and interact with them, whether it's on a monthly basis. And this is where MailChimp and these email things come in to play, is you send out a monthly newsletter that says, hey, these are the 5 new pieces I've done this month, or these are the types of things that are happening in my world, and people get familiar with you and they're like, oh yeah, and it's interesting to read, and there's tidbits of information on somebody's life. And all of a sudden, you've interacted with somebody 12 times over the course of a year, and they're way more likely to buy your product than they were the first time they walked in the door, because they know who you are now, they know your body of work, and it's not up to them to go search you out every time. This is why an email list, email marketing is hands down the most successful type of marketing online. More than search engine marketing, more than anything else is email marketing, because you're marketing to clients that know you, that have opted in and asked you to give them information and those types of things. Say, they tell you that they love your work, those types of things. There are people that are interested in your work. A very successful way to market your business. And so creating that book of business that Elizabeth talked about is important. It happens every day. It can happen every day of your life. You're running in, you're talking to people about your work, those types of things. You want to be gathering as much information as you can. This comes back to your website. Your website should have a place that gathers that information. If you go to my website, frankbakerart.com, it has my work on there, has my portfolio, has my sculptures, has my paintings. On the front page, as you pull it up before the fold, it says, hey, why don't you sign up for my newsletter? I do a free newsletter every month. Sign up for my newsletter and I'll send you a print, or whatever. I change it up on a day-to-day basis. But I get people to sign up. They opt into me. They're buying me, even though they're not paying anything right now. They're buying into me. They're buying into my work. I'm interested in who you are, what you do. These are potential clients. Maybe they're not a client right now. Maybe it's a college student. He doesn't have any money, but guess what? He's going to get a job in a couple of years. He's going to have money. And I am going to be interacting with him throughout that time. And he's going to become a client of mine. So these are the types of things. Any questions? I can kind of just talking and talking.
On the website, now I don't have one. I'm going to get one. If you have two areas, like I paint and I also write,
Right.
Can you put them on the same, or should you have two different websites?
It depends. If they're somewhat correlated, I would just have one website and have two sections of your website. I paint and I do sculpture, so I have two sections. But they're fairly similar. I mean, it's all traditional art. If you are doing handbags and creating handbags out of duct tape, and you're also doing fine art painting, you probably want to have two different webs, just because they're not really co-meshing. But they can be. And there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah.
My website is through Wix.com.
Yeah. Okay.
However, I developed it free, and they want to upgrade it, which would be nice because it would have better exposure, I think. I don't know, because there's all these things you do to get it out there better.
Yeah.
And on my website, since it's free, I also didn't put any way for people to just like go to PayPal and buy something from my website, because that cost me money and I couldn't do that either. So I had one friend especially that wanted to buy something. You don't have PayPal? And she wouldn't do it because I didn't have PayPal. It's like, well, I will someday.
But you can sign up free for PayPal.
You can.
I did that, and you get their email and you send a receipt or invoice to them.
Yep, there's a couple of different ways.
Ways to do
Some of the
it.
biggest mistakes people do with their website, from my perspective, is one, they have a hosted by somebody else website, meaning, I don't know, DevonArt or whatever type of sites where it's your name / DevonArt.com, and you're sending all the traffic to these main sites like Wix, and it's a good stepping stone. If you don't have a website, free website, there's places to go like that to do it. WordPress does free websites. Blogger does free websites that you can get yourname.blogger.com. If you don't have anything, do that and do it now. If you do have something and you want to take it to the next level, WordPress.com has a lot of free tools. You buy your hosting, but the website and their internet and their interaction management is free. They let you. My site is built on WordPress. Did it myself. There's a ton of different ways that you can build off of it. There is a little bit of a learning curve, but it's well worth the time to do it. Secondly, like I said, you want to make sure that your website is, and I call it the grandma test. If your grandma can get on there and she can find what she's looking for and navigate the website, you got a pretty good website. if she can't, and she has no idea how to get your art, and it's like, what? I don't have a clue what's going on here. Then you need to work on that. Get your grandma on there, or that's. I'm not trying to say that grandmas can't do this because there's really smart grandmas out there. But I'm saying,
I'm a grandma.
Exactly. There's smart grandmas out there. So, but if you can't have somebody that doesn't know much about being online get on your website and be able to find what you want them to find, then you need to rethink your website. You don't want to build it where it's just, how do I put this? Where it's just all sorts of photos flying at your face type of thing. You want to have something where somebody can navigate and find what they're looking for. I want to find, here's all of his paintings, figurative paintings, and here's all of his, non-figurative paintings, or whatever that is with that person and your art. So use the grandma test. Make sure that people can find it. So we talked about creating lists and creating content. Your content is the great thing about artists, and I've worked in, like I said, in the internet world where one of the toughest things people have is creating content around who they are and their business, and getting people to, with the way social media is and the way you interact with people nowadays online, you have to let people in to who you are a little bit. And that means not only just show them your art, which is great content. You guys have that. If you're creating art, you have the content. But it's also what inspires you to create that content. What inspired you to a certain piece that you created? And you should have a blog, and you should be updating that blog on a weekly basis and talking about, hey, I did this piece because why? I'm doing a summer piece with a little boy in a swimming pool because it's summertime and I loved the swimming pool when I was a kid and I wanted it. So that's why, I want to talk about that. I remember standing at the side of the pool and looking at the water, thinking about all the different things in my life and how, jumping in on a day-to-day basis into a pool was the best thing as a 5-year-old that I could ever think of, was jumping into a nice blue pool. And I can talk about that. And I can create a piece and I can tell about it and people want to see that, yes.
This blog, is it connected to your website?
Yes. With WordPress, they build it in. With Blogger, those types of websites. Most websites, even Wix, they have a blog.
Which is just another word for an area for text.
An area for text, an area where you can post new stuff on a day-to-day basis. The blog's just a simple way to do
Can you
it.
hire somebody that I don't know how to write?
You can. There's lots of people. You could talk to me, and if you want help, I will help you through it. There's a lot of different things that you can do simply to make that happen.
If we were to talk to you, how do we find you?
FrankMbaker.com, Frank Baker Art. My business is Creature Digital, is the company that I own. Either any of those places.
So your Creature Digital, is that a marketing company?